Earnings per share, class example number 6. We are looking at compulsory convertible debentures. We start off with the first bit of information. Again, it says 31 December 20.9. The following balances are appeared in the books of XL Limited. Therefore, please, as we told you previously, look at the dates. Make sure when we are giving you the information, in this case, at the end of the year. So therefore, at the end of every year, there was 2.5 million shares in issue. If we look at the first paragraph, it also states that there has been no issue of ordinary shares during the years ended 31 December 29-28. And let us have a look at the earnings. The profit for the year was 500,000 and 450 respectively. And then we look at the 8% compulsory convertible debentures. At 1,000 Rand each, doesn't at this stage really matter how it looks, but that will give us 2 million rands in issue. So what we have to now look at, this paragraph. The compulsory convertible debentures have been issued on 30th of September 20.8. What does that mean? The previous year, somewhere in the middle of that year. So we have to go and pro-rata that portion. And they are convertible at a conversion rate of 50 rands per share. So we are going to convert them in shares worth 50 rands each. So we have to divide the 50 rands into the 2 million rands in issue. And that will give us the number of shares. The 2010, it doesn't really matter when, because that will still be in the future. In that year it is important, but now just to know that it is in future. So let us look at the required part. Required, calculate basic earnings per share for the years ended 31 December 20.9 and 20.8, and then part B, disclose this information in financial statements. Let us have a quick recap on compulsory convertible preference shares. Because these shares are compulsory convertible, that means they will be converted somewhere in the future. And therefore, they are deemed to be shares issued from the first day that they have been issued, even though they are debentures. So, they are not considered to be potential shares, they are considered to be shares already issued. That's how we deem them. So they will be included in the basic EPS and there will be no dilution calculated. Thus, the basic EPS is calculated from the date of issue. So they are included from that date. The effect on the basic earnings per share. Firstly, the profit for the year. You still deduct the interest on debentures and preference dividend, etc. But the earnings attributable to ordinary shares will be the figure that we are using, the profit for the year. So we are not going to do any adjustments. We take the profit for the year as it is stated in your statement of profit or loss. And then the basic earnings is not to be adjusted therefore, but the WANOS is adjusted for basic earnings plus the extra shares which will be converted from the debentures in this case. Let's continue with the suggested solution for class example number 6, the calculation of the basic earning per share. First, we look at the weighted average number of shares. Given to you there was the 2.5 million at the beginning of each year, and then the same answer at the end. And then we look at the compulsory convertible debentures. There were 2 million rands in issue, and they were convertible into shares worth 50 rands each, giving us a total of 40,000 shares. Now we deem these shares to have been issued from the day that the compulsory convertible debenture have been issued. And because of that, we also have to take into account that the prior year, 20.8, they were issued at the end of September, 30th September, which means they were in issue only for 3 months. And for that reason, we had to weight them for those 3 months during 20.8. And that now gives us the WANOS weighted average for 20.8 and 20.9. Weighted in terms of they've only been issued in 20.8 for 3 months. Then we calculate the basic earnings. And as we said in our theory, there's no adjustment to the earnings. We consider these shares to have been issued and they are deemed to be in issue already, and there's no adjustment to the basic earnings for these shares. That brings us to the calculation of the basic earnings per ordinary share. Note there is no dilution because these shares have already been taken into account as shares. The disclosure. Our statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, profit for the year, and at the bottom of that statement you will find the basic earnings per ordinary share as we calculate it, and then we also have the note number 15. Under the notes, there's our note number 15, earnings per share, and remember we have to reconcile the numerator used for basic earnings per share. Because there's no reconciliation to be done, we only have the figures as given to us, basic earnings. The same with the reconciliation of the denominator. There's no weighting to be done because the shares have already been taken into account as ordinary shares, giving us the totals as we see them there. Thank you.